Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hey. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Rakshamam. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya, Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adigo Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haraye Nama Krishna, Yadavaya Namaha, Gopala Govinda Rama, Sri Madhusudana. Om Apavitra Pavitrova Sarva Avastangato Piba Yat Smarit Pundarika Akshang Sabhaya Abhyantara Suchihi. Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu, Shri Vishnu. Om Ajnana Timarandasya Jnana Anjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militang Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukang Karoti Vachalang Pangang Lang Hayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Shri Gurung Dina Charanam. Yat Kripa Tamahang Vande Parama Ananda Madhavam. Trinad Api Sunichena Tarar Iva Sahishnuna. Amanina Manadina Kirtaniya Sadahari. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatir Anyata. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So last week, we did part 1 of this section. We heard the story of Arjuna kidnapping Subhadra. We remember that Subhadra was supposed to be married to Duryodhana because Balaram, her elder brother, was in favor of that coupling. But when Arjuna visited Dwaraka, he came in disguise as a sannyasi. And when he met the beautiful Subhadra at the end of the Chaturmasya period, he was invited to Balaram's house for prasad. And all the while, Arjuna was completely infatuated with Subhadra, and Subhadra also indicated she was infatuated with Arjuna. So with the help of Krishna, on the day of Ratha Yatra, Arjuna kidnapped Subhadra, and Balaram became very, very angry. But Krishna and others, especially Krishna, he fell down at Balaram's feet, and they explained to him that actually Arjuna was in love with Subhadra, and Subhadra was also in love with Arjuna. So by the, how should you say, influence of Krishna, it was okay that Arjuna married Subhadra. So now we begin the next 2 parts of this chapter, the character of Srutadev and the character of Bahulashva. Maharaj Parikshit was very anxious to hear more about Krishna. And so, after finishing the narration of Arjuna's kidnapping Subhadra, Shukadev Goswami began narrating another story as follows. There was a householder Brahmana in the city of Mithila, the capital of the kingdom of Videha. This Brahmana, whose name was Shrutadev, was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Due to Shrutadev being fully Krishna conscious and always engaged in the service of Lord Krishna, Shrutadev was completely peaceful in his mind and detached from all material attraction. Srutadev was very learned and had no other desire than to be fully situated in Krishna consciousness. Although in the order of grihastha or householder life, Srutadev never took great pains to earn anything for his livelihood. Srutadev was satisfied with whatever he could achieve without much endeavor. And somehow or other, Srutadev lived in that way. Every day, Srutadev would get necessities for life in just the quantity required and not more than that, for that was Srutadev's destiny. The Brahmana had no desire to get more than what he needed, and thus Srutadev was peacefully executing the regulative principles of a Brahmana's life as enjoined in the revealed scriptures. Fortunately, the king of Mithila was as good a devotee as the Brahman. The name of this famous king was Bahulashva. He was very well established in his reputation as a good king, and Bahulashva was not at all ambitious to extend his kingdom for the sake of sense gratification. As such, both the Brahmin Shrutadev and the king Bahulashva remained pure devotees of Lord Krishna while living in Mithila. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. All right, the next scene is entitled Krishna Visits Mithila. Since Lord Krishna was very merciful upon these two devotees, King Bahulashva and the Brahmana Shrutadev, Krishna one day asked his driver, Daruka, to take his chariot into the capital city of Mithila. Lord Krishna was accompanied by great sages such as Narada, Vamadeva, Atri Rishi, Vyasadeva, Parashuram, Asita, Aruni, Brihaspati, Kanva, Maitreya, Chavana, and others. Lord Krishna and the sages were passing through many villages and towns, and everywhere the citizens would receive them with great respect and offer them articles in worship. When the citizens came to see Lord Krishna, and all of them assembled together in one place, it seemed that the sun was present along with his various satellite planets. In that journey, Lord Krishna and the sages passed through the kingdoms of Anartha, Dhanva, Kurujangala, Kanka, Matsya, Panchala, Kunti, Madhu, Kekai, Koshala, and Arna. And thus all the citizens of these places, both men and women, could see Lord Krishna eye to eye. In this way, they enjoyed celestial happiness, with open hearts full of love and affection for Lord Krishna. And when they saw the face of Lord Krishna, it seemed to them that they were drinking nectar through their eyes. When they saw Krishna, all the ignorant misconceptions of their lives dissipated. When Lord Krishna passed through the various countries and the people came to visit Krishna, simply by glancing over them, Lord Krishna would bestow all good fortune upon them and thus liberate them from all kinds of ignorance. In some places, even demigods would also join with the human beings in their glorification of Lord Krishna, and such glorification would cleanse all directions of all inauspicious things. In this way, Lord Krishna slowly and gradually reached the kingdom of Videha. When the news of Lord Krishna's arrival was received by the citizens, they all felt unlimited happiness and came to welcome Krishna, taking gifts in their hands to offer. As soon as they saw Lord Krishna, their hearts immediately blossomed in transcendental bliss, just as a lotus flower blooms upon the rising of the sun. Previously, they had simply heard the names of the great sages, but had never seen them. But now, by the mercy of Krishna, they had the opportunity of seeing both the great sages and Lord Krishna himself. King Bahulashva, as well as the Brahman Shrutadev, knowing well that Lord Krishna had come there just to grace them with favor, they immediately fell at Lord Krishna's lotus feet and offered respects. With folded hands, the king and the Brahmana each simultaneously invited Krishna and all the sages to his home. In order to please both of them, Krishna expanded himself into two and went to the house of each of them simultaneously. Yet, neither the king nor the Brahmana could understand that Lord Krishna had gone to the house of the other. Both thought that Lord Krishna had gone only to his house. That Krishna and his companions were present in both houses. Although both the Brahman and the king thought Krishna was present in his house only, is another opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This opulence is described in the revealed scriptures as Vaibhava Prakash. We remember that when Lord Krishna married 16,100 wives, Krishna also expanded himself into 16,108 forms, each one of them as powerful as he himself. We also remember that similarly, in Vrindavan, when Lord Brahma stole away Krishna's cows, calves, and cowherder boys, Krishna expanded himself into many new cows, calves, and cowherder boys. And we also remember from that chapter that in terms of the cows, calves, and cowherd boys, Krishna exactly duplicated each and every one, down to what each of the boys was wearing on that day. And the reason Krishna did that is that he did not want the mothers to feel any anxiety that their actual boys had been kidnapped and hidden away by Lord Brahma. So for 1 year, Krishna expanded himself, and the mothers did not know anything that had happened except for one thing, that now that they thought that their boys were their boys, but actually they were Krishna, it was noticeable that they had even more affection for these boys than they did their real boys. And at that time, Shukadev and Prabhupada pointed out that this proves the point that actually the most lovable object for the living entity is Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So now we have the purport and notes from the 10th canto. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti states that Shrutadev and Bahulashva were unable to travel to Dwaraka to see Lord Krishna because both of them had vowed to regularly worship their personal deity at home. Sri Krishna was very glad to go out of his way to give these two devotees both his audience. And so, while leaving Dwaraka, Krishna insisted that the sages who wanted to come with him should join Krishna on his chariot, because otherwise they would exhaust themselves following on foot. Renowned sages would ordinarily never even consider traveling in such an opulent conveyance. But on Krishna's order, the sages put aside their natural aversion and joined Krishna on his chariot. The greatest scholar of Lord Chaitanya's disciples, namely Srila Jiva Goswami, raises the logical question of how the ordinary people along the path could even see Lord Krishna. For since not only were their eyes covered by ignorance, but Krishna's chariot was traveling faster than the wind. Supplying the answer, Jiva Goswami indicates that Lord Krishna's special glance of mercy empowered every one of them with the devotional purity required for entering into his association. Otherwise, Krishna would have ordinarily remained outside the scope of their power to see. As Krishna himself confirms this in his instructions in the Uddhava Gita, Bhaktyaham ekaya grahya. I, O Uddhava, can be perceived only by devotion. Finally, according to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Krishna visited Srutadev and Bahulashva at the same time by manifesting himself in duplicate forms along with the sages. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the fourth scene. Krishna visits Bahulashva. Bahulashva, king of Videha, was very intelligent and was a perfect gentleman. Bahulashva was astonished that so many great sages, along with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were personally present in his home. Bahulashva knew perfectly well that the conditioned soul, especially when engaged in worldly affairs, cannot be 100% pure, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his pure devotees are always transcendental to worldly contamination. Therefore, when Bahulashva found that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and all the great sages were at his home, Bahulashva was astonished, and he began thanking Lord Krishna for his causeless mercy. Feeling very much obliged and wanting to receive his guest to the best of his capacity, Bahulashva called for nice chairs and cushions, and Lord Krishna, along with all the sages, sat down very comfortably. At that time, King Bahulashva's mind was very restless, not because of any problems, but because of great ecstasy of love and devotion. Bahulashva's heart was filled with love and affection for Lord Krishna and his associates, and Bahulashva's eyes were filled with tears of ecstasy. Bahulashva arranged to wash the feet of his divine guests, and after washing them, Bahulashva and his family members sprinkled the water on their own heads. After this, Bahulashva offered to his guests nice flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, incense, new garments, ornaments, lamps, cows, and bulls. In a manner just befitting his royal position, Bahulashva worshipped each one of them in this way. And when all had been fed sumptuously and were sitting very comfortably, Bahulashva came before Lord Krishna and caught his lotus feet. Bahulashva placed Krishna's feet on his lap, and while massaging Krishna's feet with his own hands, Bahulashva began speaking about the glories of Lord Krishna in a sweet voice. Oh, my dear Lord Krishna, you are the super soul of all living entities, and as witness within the heart, you are cognizant of everyone's activities. As such, being duty-bound, we always think of your lotus feet so that we can remain in a secure position without deviating from your eternal service. And as a result of our continuous remembrance of your lotus feet, you have kindly visited my place personally just to favor me with your causeless mercy. We have heard, my dear Lord Krishna, that by your various statements, you confirm that your pure devotees are more dear to you than even Lord Balaram or your constant servitor, Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune. Your devotees are dearer to you than your first son, Lord Brahma. And I am sure that you have so kindly visited my place in order to prove your divine statement. I cannot imagine how people can be godless and demoniac even after knowing of your causeless mercy and affection for your devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness. How can such devotees ever forget your lotus feet? My dear Lord Krishna, it is known to us that you are so kind and liberal that when a person leaves everything just to engage in Krishna consciousness, you sometimes give yourself in exchange for that unalloyed service. You have appeared in the Yadu dynasty to fulfill your mission of reclaiming all conditioned souls who are simply rotting in the sinful activities of material existence. And this appearance is already famous all over the world. My dear Lord Krishna, you are the ocean of unlimited mercy, love, and affection. Your transcendental form is full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. You can attract everyone's heart by your beautiful form as Shyama Sundara. Your knowledge is ananta, unlimited. And just to teach all people how to execute devotional service, you have sent your incarnation, Nara Narayana, who is engaged in severe austerities and penances at Badari Narayana. Kindly, therefore, accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. My dear Lord Krishna, I beg to request you and your companions, these great sages and brahmanas, to remain at my place so that this family of the famous King Nimi may be sanctified by the dust of your lotus feet at least for a few days. Lord Krishna could not refuse the request of his devotee, and thus Krishna remained there for a few days along with the sages in order to sanctify the city of Mithila and all of its citizens. So now we will read the purport, the notes from the 10th canto on this section. King Bahulashva thought that Lord Krishna had come only to his house, leaving Shrutadev to return home disappointed, while Shrutadev believed that thus the opposite was the case. The Sanskrit word Ishvara in this section refers not only to the Supreme Lord, but also to the exalted sages who were with Krishna in his company. This is confirmed by the Acharyas, Sridhar Swami and Vishwanath Chakravarti. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains Bahulashva's inner thoughts as follows. Bahulashva glorifies Lord Krishna as the inspiring soul of all life and consciousness, thinking that even an inert dullard like himself could be awakened to devotional awareness by Krishna's mercy. Bahulashva glorified Krishna as the witness of all pious and impious actions. Bahulashva was confident that Krishna remembers whatever little devotional service Bahulashva had ever done. Bahulashva glorified Krishna as being self-illumined, never needing to be enlightened or informed by any external source, with the knowledge that Krishna has always been aware of Bahulashva's long-cherished secret desire to see Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that King Bahulashva offered these prayers to encourage Lord Krishna to remain at his home for some days. Thus the king was thinking, since contact with the Supreme Lord can free anyone from misconceptions and doubts, Krishna's presence in my home will fortify my intelligence so that I can withstand the onslaughts of material desires. In his expansion as Narayana Rishi, Krishna always resides in Badarika Ashram for the good of the whole land of Bharat. And so, Krishna may also create good fortune for the land of Mithila by remaining here for at least a few days. Finally, since Lord Krishna's propensity is toward peace and simplicity, Krishna will certainly prefer my simple home to the excessive opulence of Dwaraka. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlad Aklad Dayane, Hiranya Kashipur Vakshaha, Shila Tangana Kalaye, Ito Narsingha Parato Narsingho, Yato Yamitato Narsingha, Bahir Narsingho, Vidaye Narsingho, Narsingham Ading Sharanang Prapadye, Tavakara Kamala Varenakam Adbhuta Sringam, Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bringam, Keshavadrita Narahadi Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Keshavadrita Narsingha Rupa, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare, Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Tat Sat.